Welcome to Con Carne. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can see it is a beautiful day as I'm recording this in Plainfield, Illinois. Con Carne is presented by Alex Ross Art. Visit Alex Ross on YouTube. Here's Alex to talk about it.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
And you can also visit Alex Ross on alexrossart.com. Con Carne is also sponsored by a book. It is 90 Days in the 90s, a book written by Andy Fry. If you have been in Chicago, around Chicago, if you have celebrated Chicago, specifically in the 1990s, this is the fiction book for you. It's a time travel story, a time travel trip back to the 1990s in Chicago, where Darby, who owns a record store in Chicago, goes back to. She jumps on the gray line. She goes back in time to the 90s in Chicago. Maybe you'd like to do that. There are times when I would like to do that. I would like to do that as well. Get the book. Find out what Darby does when she goes back to the 90s. Get it on Amazon or 90daysintheNineties.com. Con Carne is also sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. If you need help turning your home, business, whatever, into a smart home, business, whatever, talk to my guys at Easy Automation. They'll help you find the customized solution that is right for you. Their team has 30 years of collective experience in the industry, and they'll tailor a service package that fits your lifestyle and your needs. Get a quote. Visit easy-automation.net or just pick up the phone and call. Talk to a human voice. 630-730-3728. 630-730-3728. Convertibles are good for like 5 days a year. They're only like in the Midwest. They're only like 5 days you can have a convertible. Yeah. Like she's probably got another hour before she's regretting the convertible.
It's too hot. Yeah.
So here we are. It is Con Carne recording right outside Black Dog Vinyl, 16108 South Route 59 in Plainfield. To my right, if you're watching this on Facebook or the YouTube, it is Mike Marchetti. He is one of the owners. In the back seat, not one of the owners, he's a musician. Jason Benefield is here, and he's going to be performing live in this car. But because we're here with you, Mike, let's talk about Black Dog Vinyl, and let's talk about it over the food you serve at Black Dog Vinyl.
For sure.
What are we eating this morning?
I've made up some of our egg breakfast sandwiches, which is...
We're recording it at breakfast time, so...
Yes, it's early still for us, yeah. Although it is warm.
It is damn warm.
It is warm.
We're recording on a hot Sunday.
So we specialize in paninis. So we've got our egg panini. It's egg, ham, and cheese. And I guess the variable would be the cheese on it. So we've got 3 of them made. We've got one with provolone, one with white Vermont cheddar, and one with Swiss cheese.
I'm a Swiss fan, so I grabbed the Swiss.
That was perfect for you. And I'm Marchetti. I'm a provolone guy, so it worked out well for all of us, I feel like. Jay, you all right back there with your cheese?
I was hoping nobody grabbed the cheddar. So
all right, then we're all perfect, right? And I did that without even knowing.
We're in perfect sync this morning.
That's a good sound.
Thank you for the hospitality and the panini. This is exactly how I want to start my Sunday.
You're welcome. We got some drinks, too.
That's good.
Sandwich is good? Good.
Fantastic.
Throwing it on the panini press makes all the difference in the world, I really feel like.
The Swiss is the way to go, just saying.
Swiss, okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I like the white cheese. As long as it's white, I'm good with it.
That's the kind of audio clip that people
my
could...
Lord.
What a soundbite that was.
Can we edit that out?
That's like a career-ruining clip.
Wow.
Again, we're talking about cheese.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm going to see if you're canceled on Twitter yet.
It's coming. It's coming. It doesn't take me long usually, guys. It doesn't.
So we're having coffee. We're having iced coffee because, again, as Mike said, it's brutally hot outside.
It is brutally hot. The gentlemen both have just our regular iced coffee. We do flavored drinks.
By the way, we're the gentlemen, Jason.
You are the
fantastic.
gentleman. Well, I'm trying to bring it back up after my last faux pas. You know, I'm trying. I have our Thin Lizzy drink, which is our bourbon coffee, which does not have any bourbon in it. It's an extract flavoring. It's maple syrup and powdered cinnamon on top with some oat milk. And it's fantastic.
That sounds delightful.
It's our most popular drink. It's definitely my favorite drink. And over ice, it's perfect.
What ties it to Thin Lizzy?
Nothing really ties it per se. You know, we theme all of our drinks. And what ties it to Thin Lizzy is my daughter's name is Lizzie, and she came up with the recipe.
Well, there it is.
And then we tie all of our all of our drinks back to music.
Because I know you
So-
have a Smashing Pumpkin.
Yes, we do. We just brought that out yesterday for the season.
Perfect. Yeah, that season keeps finding its way sooner and sooner.
Sooner.
on the calendar.
That's what,
It really
that's
does.
what my wife Kathy said yesterday. She goes, "It's pumpkin time." I said, "Okay, let's do it."
So for those who haven't been, to Black Dog Vinyl here in Plainfield, this is kind of like the best of everything. It's like everything you like under one roof: live music, coffee, food, booze, vinyl records. I mean, if I were to create a store, it would kind of look like this.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, I mean,
With the help from my wife, I got to give my wife a big shout out on the whole idea of it. Because when we were brainstorming to come up with a business, she basically came up with all the parts of it. You know, she started with a record store, and I was like, I'm going to be sitting in a little 8x8 room with musty old albums all day. I'll go crazy. She's like, no, I got ideas.
yeah, let's get musty musicians in here too.
That's even better.
But this is great, and what I knew about the place before coming here for my first time today is that you've built a community out here.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't get out of the city that often, there is a legit and thriving local music community, and this is kind of ground zero for it out in these parts.
I'd love to think so. I mean, that's one of our goals for sure, is to embrace the music
You have
community.
a really busy calendar.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's packed.
And tell me about that, because I feel the community. Obviously, it's been well received. You're bringing the people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are coming, and the musicians are great. They're, always spreading the word about our place to other musicians to get them to reach out to me and come. Jason's been playing pretty much since we opened.
He's just always here.
He's here
Yeah.
a bit. He was
Yeah,
here Thursday night. He's
yeah.
here Sunday morning.
I think I'm
This
back
week-
in like next weekend or weekend after or something.
Yeah, you probably are.
Yeah.
Which is good for us. We like that. We
No, I like
appreciate
it
that.
too.
Jason's well received by our clientele, which helps a lot. It's always good. That they bring people, we bring people, everybody comes together, like you were saying, that community.
Because if you don't create that, there's no point. I mean,
No.
you don't exist.
I've been asked the question, what do you want your place to be? Are you a coffee shop? Are you a record store? And my usual answer is we're a community gathering spot,
That's it.
and we can be whatever you want us to be.
I love that. And, it's funny. Jason's musical partner, Colleen Wild,
Yeah, Colleen.
she was the first person who came to me and said, have you done anything there yet? You need to.
Well, thank you, Colleen.
Yeah, she is such a strong advocate for what you have going on here. She's like, oh my God, you got to make the trip out there.
Well, we appreciate Colleen a lot.
She's the best.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Much like Jason, I think she started probably the month before Jason. She came in here and she's like, and you got to have my partner in here too. I said, well, we're going to have your partner in here for sure.
And what's the lesson here? Support is everything.
Everything.
Be a cheerleader for people in your scenes and communities.
Yeah, I agree totally. I've got no musical talent, so the best thing I can do is put up a stage in my place and let people bring the music to me and to all the people out here in the Plainfield, Joliet, Shorewood, Naperville area who want a music venue. Not just a bar.
Right.
Where everybody's talking and screaming and joking and maybe you can hear part of the song.
Well, there's that, and how do you differentiate at this point? If you're just doing a bar that has live music, how do you do something that's different that's going to last? The answer is I don't think you did.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
What you do is you create that space, and it's a smaller space. We don't have a lot of seating, and you just promote the music. And it's weird, but people, when they come here, seem to respect the musicians a lot more. My wife and I were out at a local tavern.
Did you say your
Friday
wife's
night.
name, Kathy?
Kathy, yeah, Kathy. Kathy with a C. So we were out at a local place. We closed up a little early. We actually went out. We visited Metal Monkey because they're closing down. We wanted to make sure we made a trip over there. So we had the part-timers working Friday night, and we hit a couple of spots. And we were at a local tavern, and it's a great tavern, and it's a great time. It's a fun time. And one of my musicians was playing there, who plays here, not mine. I don't own any of them or anything like that. But so we decided we'd stop in at the end of the night, and the place was crowded. You couldn't even hear the guy playing. And I felt a little bad about it. I'm like, Will, we can't even hear you. He's like, yeah, there's different rooms. He goes, this is a big room with a lot of people. More money comes into this room. So there's different aspects of it all. You can play the big room where maybe 10%'s paying attention to you, but the tip bucket's rocking and everything else is rocking. Or we like to think we're like a listening room where people come to listen to the music. They don't come to catch up on old times with their neighbor or anything. They come to listen to music. There's chit-chat going on. I'm not saying people don't talk, but it's really wonderful how much people respect the musicians when they come into our place.
I love that. I'm going to eat another. You guys aren't eating the sandwich. It's making me
I'm
uncomfortable.
talking. I talk too much. I can't eat.
And had we come later in the day, we could have had an Italian beef panini. Is that true?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that just literally instead of a French roll, you're doing everything on?
Everything's done on the paninis. Yeah. Put it on the press. Get it nice and
Are you a hot
crispy.
jardinier guy, or you like it more mild?
I'm more mild. When I was young, I was more hot. Now, as we were talking earlier, as we get up there a little bit, you kind
Once
of
you hit that ow my back age, you dial back on the heat.
For sure, you do. Mm-hmm.
So, half of the space, or almost half of the space, is dedicated to vinyl.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said earlier about just opening up a record store, it seems like this is a very tough time to be competitive in that space as a retailer.
It is.
Especially for new records. I mean, I feel like the wholesale costs keep getting higher, so your margins keep getting slimmer.
There's very little margins on the new releases. I mean, quite frankly, we make $5 to maybe $10 an album on a new release.
And new albums can cost between $25 and $40.
Yes, they do, and there's minimum. So when you're getting them from the supplier, you've got to buy your $300 worth of albums.
Right, of course.
And so you bring them all in, and some of them, Taylor Swift, boom, 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 they're all gone. Some take quicker, some take longer. The Foo Fighters moved really well. So you got to have your balance of, do I bring in 10? Taylor Swift, we want to bring in 10 or 20. Foo Fighters, who are great, maybe 5 or 6. The Revivalists, who is one of my favorite bands, but they're not as well known. You bring in 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And you don't, because you don't want to sit on them for too long.
Right, and everything's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Other than Taylor Swift.
Oh, she
than
is the
Taylor
exception to pretty much every conventional entertainment rule right now.
Right now, yeah,
That's true.
it's amazing.
So I guess my question to you as a vinyl retailer, do you think the bottom will fall out on the new record market?
Actually, it's almost the opposite of that. They're repressing so many albums now. Mm-hmm. The OG copies are losing some of their value.
That makes sense.
When you couldn't find Van Halen, for carnal knowledge, you can't find it anywhere. Now they're going to put it in a box set. So when I used to get the one that came in, you charge $50, $60, $70, and people are happy to pay it. That Van Halen fan is dying for that. Well, now it's in a new box set for $20. Well,
yeah.
I can get that one for $20 or $30 instead of doing the OG. So it does hurt that a little bit, and that varies though too. So guys our age want that OG copy.
I'm 25.
I know you are.
We all are.
And we're the guys. But the teenagers, they'd much rather, they don't have that disposable income. They're not looking for the original press. They're more than happy to grab the $25 album, which is,
Well, it's interesting. I just yesterday got my reissued copy of Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads. It's now a double record, which, the original was a single record release. And I compare the two. I have the OG and I got the new one. I mean, the difference in the way vinyl was pressed in the 1980s as compared to the 160 or 180 gram today. I mean, it's a more substantive material. And it feels more durable and not like garbage.
It does. The 180 gram thing, it's fantastic. It's a little misleading because there are still bad presses on the 180
Sure,
gram.
of course.
But what it does do, like you said, it's substantial. You don't feel like when you put it down it might break or scratch. Or
when you hold those old records up, you could wobble them in the air.
Oh God, yeah. The 80s ones were so thin.
Yeah, especially once
crazy.
those mass production days in the early 80s. It's like they were thin.
They were real thin. The old
And
Electra
they warped
records.
they warped easy.
Warped really easily, yeah. So you get that. The 180 gram will help on that end of it. But like I was saying, there are still bad pressings.
Sure.
Blackberry Smoke put out a Record Store Day album 2 record store days ago, and it was marred with skipping, every one of them. So it was just a bad press. It just came out that way. So it still happens, but like you said, it is a much better process now. It's more refined everything, right? Technology, we keep moving forward. That's okay.
Wish you had one extra thought there.
I'm sorry, I trail off quickly sometimes.
Do you have people coming by the store or calling the store a lot saying, hey, I've got a couple of crates full of records. Are you buying?
Yes. And yes, we are buying.
Really? Mm-hmm. I just assumed you'd probably be turning people away more than you'd be buying.
Well, most people don't want to leave. So that's the thing. And people realize there's a record boom on and they've got all these records in their basement and they think they have tons of value. Most of the times they're a little overzealous in how they will think their record collection should be priced. And you have to explain to people, well, if you open up an eBay store and you sell these albums yourself one at a time, you'll make plenty of money. But if you want me to take all your albums off your hands, all your rock and roll, all your Engelbert Humperdinck, all your Andy Williams, well, there's certain values and you get kind of a lump sum on it. And people, last week alone, I probably had 4 people come in with records.
Oh, wow.
No big crates, Typically, what I typically see is 25, 30 albums at a time.
Which is still a lot to comb through and evaluate.
Yes, it is, yeah. So I ask people to, depending on how busy we are, sometimes people leave my larger collections. I want you to leave them so I can go through them, make sure the quality's there, and get people a fair return. Not rip anybody off and not rip myself off either.
Right,
so
right.
When you make those quick decisions, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, here's $100. And you're like, oh, that one's scratched, that one's warped, oh, that one's cracked, oh, there's no album inside this case. And so you got to take your time to go through them. And like you said, dirty and dusty is one thing. You just got to get a good look at them to make sure that they'll play.
And Jason told me the evil nature of your business. You pay him for a gig, and then he turns around and buys records.
That's a secret. We don't want people to know about
right.
that. That's,
you could just give me the records instead.
Yeah,
cut
right.
Out
We
the
just
whole
cut
stuff
the
in the
middleman
song and
out.
dance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it really is. Don't worry about the tax implications. Just turn it into vinyl right away.
And I would never want anybody to know that I target my musicians because I know what music they like, and I make sure that they know that it's in. And
Like, oh, hey, have you seen this?
yes.
Yeah.
This
He's
rare.
he's a dealer.
This rare John Prine 1971.
Got some Steve Earle for you here.
Yeah.
What'd you get last week? Tom Waits?
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits? Yeah, we know you, Jay. Yeah.
That new Isbell record came out. You're like, hey, I got the new
one for
Isbell
you.
record. I'm like, all right.
I kept it in back for him.
You got me.
Jason Isbell moved well. That one moved really well.
I bet.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Agreed. All right, so as far as when you're open for business,
We are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. We open at noon on Wednesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have music basically every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Awesome.
So we usually kick it off at about 7 o'clock, and they usually play till 9-ish, and we're pretty much done by 10. I mean, we're still a cafe.
you're speaking my language.
Yeah, yeah, we are. And it's set up that way purposefully. In all honesty, that's my time. That's my bedtime. 10 o'clock. I'm ready to go. Yeah, we do Sunday afternoons. We'll cut back a little bit once the football season starts, and we do some Wednesday nights. We've got the first Wednesday of the month. Michael Reese hosts a singer-songwriter showcase, and the last Wednesday of the month, Zach Edwards hosts a singer-songwriter showcase, which is nice. So we get to, every month we get about 8-9 songwriters who are local people, just
Love it.
playing all their original music, come on in, and it's a nice opportunity for them where, Jason and I have had the conversation many times. People like cover songs. They do, and, it's fine and it's great, but I love to encourage our artists to play as much original as they have, as many as they want. Throw them a bone and, play an Eagles song once, but play your music. Play the stuff you're working on, the stuff you're writing. People like it. It's good stuff, and it needs to be heard.
And if they're playing an Eagles song, can we agree it shouldn't be anything off the long run?
Yes, we could agree with that, yeah.
2 of the worst songs ever made are both on that album, Teenage Jail and The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks.
Yeah, that's not good, no.
No, I'm glad you're encouraging original stuff.
Yeah, we definitely love it. Yeah, we're big fans.
I'm a big fan of what you're doing here. Again, it's all about community. You're basically running a handful of businesses under one roof with competing needs, priorities, and you're doing it all really well. You've got food, you've got coffee, you've got booze, you've got vinyl, and you've got live music happening. What a great resource for this community you are.
Well, thanks, James. I appreciate it.
I love it. It's Black Dog Vinyl, 16108 South Route 59 in Plainfield. That is Mike Marchetti. Jason Benefield, a performer, a frequent appearer here at Black Dog. You brought your guitar. You brought an acoustic.
I did, yeah.
So you're going to have to sing for your lunch or your brunch today.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We're going to let Mike run his business, and then I want you to grab your guitar and maybe you could do a song.
Sounds good, yeah.
Awesome.
down.
Mike, thank you for the food. Thank you for the hospitality, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, James. You keep doing this. This is great. We love it. We love how you shine a light on so many local businesses. It's really needed, and it's helpful. And thanks for making the trek out here. I know you're not close, so I appreciate you getting up on a Sunday morning and tooling out here.
My pleasure.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so we finished our food, and I have Jason Benefield in here in this car ready to perform a song. Before we do, let's meet Jason Benefield. You are an Americana singer-songwriter based here in the fringes of Chicago, the southwest suburbs. We know you mostly from Echo and Ransom and Matt Durda and the Hiwatts. You're a versatile player?
I play a handful of instruments. I play guitar, lap steel, harmonica. I do all that with the Hiwatts. I also play banjo, mandolin. So I try to. I enjoy learning new instruments. It makes me feel like I'm growing as an artist. So over COVID, I picked up a couple of new things and I implement them, and it's just very fulfilling.
So you're still learning. So you literally picked up new instruments within the past few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, harmonica. I always kind of had a harmonica laying around, but when COVID happened, I did a deep dive. I was like, I'm gonna actually learn how to play this thing, and so I did that. And when things started opening up, I was playing harmonica in sets. It wasn't always great there at the beginning, but I was giving myself permission to grow and learn and suck if necessary.
Well, that's how you get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So were you that kid who was growing up on music that your other classmates were not listening to?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was making like song references that they didn't get. Like my parents raised me on like classic country and outlaw country and some classic rock and stuff. So I was rocking out to Creedence, and nobody had any idea what I was talking about when I was like 8 or 9.
I tend to think of you more in the folk vein. John Prine's an influence. John Prine's a reference, as we'll soon hear. But talk about local heroes. When did you discover him? Was that a later in life discovery?
Later. He was one of those people where I found out that he wrote songs that I already liked, that I had heard other people do that, and I found him, probably in my early 20s maybe. And, he's brilliant. For me, there's a holy trinity of songwriters. It's John Prine, Townes Van Zandt, and Guy Clark. That's it for me there.
So yeah, now we have a very clear understanding of your frames of reference there.
I laid it out there, didn't
I? I've been told to ask you what the best Stones album is.
Oh, Exile on Main Street. Totally.
I lean towards Beggars.
Really?
Beggars and Let It Bleed. I mean, anything from that 5-year stretch, I think, is
Honestly,
fair game.
Yeah, it's that was like when they were the Stones at their blues rock finest. And I know for me, Exile, I always have the best of intentions. Like if I'm cleaning the house or something, I'm going to put Exile on Main Street on and do that. But I always end up just laying on the floor listening to it.
All right, so to find your music, Jason Benefield, we can go to Jason Benefield on Bandcamp.
Yep.
Where we can hear songs like Lay Low and the song you're about to play. Talk to us about Chicago Song.
So this is a song I've kind of wanted to write for a long time. I grew up in Chicago and spent finally left the city when I got married. But I'm a Chicago sports fan. I love the music in Chicago. Chicago made me, so I wanted to write sort of a love song to Chicago. And one day I finally got a little bit of something there and rolled with it, and it felt good to write, and my wife said, yeah, people are gonna like this one, so I released it, and yeah, people do. It has a lot of for me, a lot of people on TikTok adding it. Like people come to town and they search for a song about Chicago, and they don't know me, but they're adding it. So.
Oh, that's great. As music discovery goes, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's made me about 4 cents maybe totally. But other than that, but no. So this is a song that is just, like I said, a love letter in my hometown.
And speaking of Chicago sports, you do pay equal time to the baseball teams on this song.
I did. Now look, I'm a Sox fan, but I grew up on the north side, so I got a lot of Cubs fans, friends and family. I like the Cubs too.
See, when I first listened to it, I would have thought the other. I would have thought you were more of a Cubs fan.
Oh, really? No, it's a Sox fan. But I have a lot of good memories going to Wrigley Field, and when they won, I shed a tear. It felt good. It felt good for my friends and family, and who I knew they were probably crying too. So I think I cried with them.
But you realize when the Cubs won, it split the multiverse in half, and nothing has been the same ever since.
That's true. That's actually very true. Everything kind of went south. after that.
Yeah, the timelines just went haywire.
Yeah.
And we're in
Yeah.
a really shitty one right now.
We need Loki to show up and
That's right.
Owen Wilson.
All right, save our timeline, Jason Benefield. You're going to perform right here in the backseat of my car. We are in Plainfield. I'm going to clear the decks here so you can do your thing. Hang on. Go ahead.
If you're ever in Chicago, let me know. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know. We'll go walking by the lake or we'll go dancing in the snow. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know. If you're ever in Chicago, I'll be here. If you're ever in Chicago, I'll be here. Wrigleyville on game day still smells like hot dogs and beer. If you're ever in Chicago, I'll be here. I cried the night the White Sox won the series. I cried the night the Cubbies won it too. I cried the day that Walter Payton died in '99. When you cut this city, it bleeds orange and blue. If you're ever in Chicago, listen hard. If you're ever in Chicago, listen hard. 'Cause she sings like Mavis Staples and she cries like Pop's guitar. If you're ever in Chicago, listen hard. We'll get high and sing John Prine till morning. We'll get high and sing Steve Goodman too. Every Muddy Waters or Willie Dixon song we know. When you cut this town, you know it bleeds the blue. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know. My old neighborhood has changed, but it still feels like home. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know. If you're ever in Chicago, let me know.
Yeah, nice job. That was
Thanks.
fantastic.
Thank you.
And that's one take.
Thank you.
Sounding amazing. So again, Bandcamp is where we can find you and support you, probably best.
Yeah, Bandcamp's great. You can go to jasonbenefield.com as well. You can find links to all my stuff and show announcements and everything is all there.
I love it. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
And of course, signs behind me. Thanks to Black Dog Vinyl Cafe for the hospitality, the food, the chat, all of it. And thank you for watching and listening to Con Carne.